Overpowered Cultivation, system showers rookie with insane rewards. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 11. Junior brother is too gentle. Practicing sword, cultivating chi, planting purple bamboo. Ling Feng's days at Pyamya Peak were interesting and fulfilling. In a blink of an eye, Lu Rusi had been gone for 3 days. Within 3 days, Ling Feng's cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds, and he had already advanced to the 5th level of the innate realm. Was almost 1 level a day. This speed of cultivation can only be said to be unprecedented in Baiyun sect. In this regard, Ling Feng only wanted to say, top-grade spirit stones, the best. Of course, practicing so fast, the consumption of top-grade spirit stones is not small. In just 3 days, he has consumed hundreds of top-grade spirit stones. Converted into silver, that is more than 1 million taels of silver. In the entire Great Zhou, few people dare to be so extravagant. Is junior brother Lu here? At this time, Ling Feng, who was preparing lunch, heard a voice coming from outside. He went out to take a look. It was a girl in red, who looked familiar. When the girl saw Ling Feng, she was stunned for a moment, then her face turned red and she said, I am Gu Linglong, a disciple of Taishu Peak. Nice to meet you, junior brother. Damn. This junior brother is so good-looking. Gu Linglong screamed in her heart. Ling Feng didn't know why the other party suddenly blushed, but when he heard the 3 words Gu Linglong, the scene when he first came to Baiyun sect emerged in his mind. At that time, there was another girl who joined the sect with him. But the other party became a disciple of the Baiyun sect's leader. Taishu Peak is where the Baiyun sect's leader lives. So it's senior sister Gu. I wonder what's the matter with you suddenly coming to my Pyamya Peak? Ling Feng asked curiously. At the same time, he threw a detection technique at the other party. Gu Linglong, the daughter of the Gu family in Shilling, Dezhou, has outstanding talent, has reached the innate realm, is good at swordsmanship, and is a disciple of the Baiyun sect's leader. The other party has also reached the innate realm. It seems that the sect's leader has invested a lot of resources in the other party. I was patrolling the mountain today and happened to pass by Pyamya Peak, so I came to see my junior brother. By the way, is Elder Lu here? Master is out. Has senior sister eaten? If you don't mind, why don't you stay and have a simple meal? Ling Feng said. Then I'll obey your order. Ling Feng. He actually just wanted to be polite. Unexpectedly, the other party actually agreed. Welcoming Gu Linglong into the house, there was 1 more person and 1 more pair of chopsticks. The food Ling Feng prepared was not enough, and he had to cook 2 more dishes. Fortunately, he had just gone down the mountain yesterday to buy a lot of food. Looking at Ling Feng busy in the kitchen, Gu Linglong's beautiful eyes showed a glimmer. I didn't expect that junior brother could cook, it's surprising. My cooking skills are not good, I'm sorry to make you laugh. Ling Feng sat back at the table with 2 plates of freshly cooked dishes. The 2 started eating. Gu Linglong took a bite, and then her beautiful eyes widened, delicious. Junior brother, the dishes you cooked are 100 times better than those in the cafeteria. Senior sister, you are too kind, wait. Senior sister, what did you say? 100 times better than the cafeteria, what's wrong, junior brother? Our Baiyun sect has a cafeteria? Yes, otherwise what would hundreds of people in our Baiyun sect eat? Ling Feng's mouth twitched. There is actually a cafeteria, then why did he work so hard to cook for himself? The cafeteria, is it free? Yeah, yes. Gu Linglong nodded while stuffing food into her mouth. Ling Feng felt even more depressed. Damn, I feel like I missed out on 100 million. No. He also wants to eat in the cafeteria. After the meal, Gu Linglong touched her slightly bulging belly, it's really delicious. This is the first time I've eaten so much since I came to Baiyun sect. As long as you enjoy the meal, senior sister. Ling Feng smiled faintly. Looking at him so gentle and refined, Gu Linglong felt that this junior brother in front of her was so handsome and gentle, and she should have come to visit him earlier. This way, she could have eaten earlier. Oh no. I should have met junior brother earlier. Seeing Ling Feng preparing to wash the dishes, Gu Linglong took the initiative to walk up to him. How can you let junior brother keep busy? Let me wash the dishes. Senior sister is a guest, how can I let you do this kind of thing? Oh, junior brother, you are being too polite. Gu Linglong took the dishes from Ling Feng's hand and rushed into the kitchen to wash up. Ling Feng watched from the side, a little worried. This senior sister looks like she has never touched the water. Is it really okay? Ping pong clanging. There were a series of sounds in the kitchen. Ling Feng walked in and saw that the ground was full of broken dishes. The corner of his mouth twitched, and there was indeed something wrong. Sorry, junior brother, I accidentally slipped and broke it. Gu Linglong pinched the corner of her clothes with a red face, looking helpless. She squatted down to pick up the broken pieces. Ling Feng hurriedly stepped forward and said, "Let me do it, senior sister, be careful not to be scratched by the glass fragments, you should go to rest first." Oh. Gu Linglong tiptoed to the side and watched Ling Feng busy. After a while, Ling Feng cleaned up the broken pieces. He sighed in his heart, forget it, I have to go to the cafeteria to eat at night. All the bowls, chopsticks and plates are gone. Eat. Hee, junior brother, don't worry, I will compensate. It's just a few bowls and chopsticks, senior sister, don't worry, but you are not injured, right? Ling Feng asked. No. Gu Linglong almost cried. It was obviously my clumsy hands, but junior brother not only did not blame me, but also was so caring. Such a gentle junior brother is so rare. Gu Linglong's favorability towards Ling Feng rose sharply. Ding. The host has successfully gained Gu Linglong's favor and has made further progress in interpersonal communication. The host is rewarded with 10 Shangqing pills. Shangqing pills? He seems to have heard of it. Is a kind of elixir specially used to improve cultivation. I don't know how it compares to the best spirit stone. Ling Feng plans to try it at night. By the way, junior brother, you have been worshipping under Elder Lu for half a month. I don't know how your cultivation is going. Have you successfully condensed the qi into your body? Condensed the qi into your body? Are you talking about the acquired realm? Yes, that's right. Junior brother, I am not talented. I just advanced to the innate realm a few days ago. Gu Linglong? So fast? She had laid the foundation before worshipping Baiyun sect. She was already in the acquired realm, so she was able to advance to the innate realm in such a short time. But what about Ling Feng? In half a month, he advanced from an ordinary person to the innate realm. Can the martial arts saint body be so unreasonable? It just so happens that I am also a congenital, junior brother, why don't we have a fight? This. Great. Ling Feng had never fought with anyone before, and he was a little eager to try. The two came outside and began to set up their positions. Junior brother, don't you have a sword? Looking at Ling Feng holding a branch, Gu Linglong asked curiously. No. Then I'll use a branch too. Gu Linglong found a branch on the ground and started fighting with Ling Feng. Sword shadows were seen, and the two of them used sword moves one after another. As their figures moved, they were like phantoms, constantly crossing in the air. Gu Linglong became more and more frightened as she fought. All the sword skills she used were completely useless in front of Ling Feng, and were easily blocked by the opponent, who seemed to be able to see through her moves in advance. So weak. As both of us are congenital, is the gap between my senior sister and me so big? Ling Feng thought to himself. He could see the flaws in the opponent's moves at a glance and counterattack. Episode 12, Canteen Gutter Oil. Gu Linglong and Ling Feng fought for more than half an hour. Finally, Gu Linglong stopped panting. Opposite her, Ling Feng was holding a branch, his breath was still steady. There was not even a drop of sweat on his forehead. He thought for a moment and said, "Thank you, senior sister, for showing mercy." He felt that maybe it was not because Gu Linglong was too weak, but that the other party deliberately held back to take care of him. Senior sister was really kind. Gu Linglong felt embarrassed when she heard this. Well, junior brother, your swordsmanship is very good. It seems that Elder Lu must have taught you very hard. Yes, master is indeed very attentive. Ling Feng nodded slightly. Although Lu Rusi looked unreliable, she had paid much attention to her instructions since the last visit by the White Cloud sect master and others. I now know 18 kinds of sword techniques. They were all taught by the other party. Okay, it's getting late today, I'll go back first and visit you another day. Gu Linglong bowed and smiled, then left reluctantly. On the way down the mountain. Thinking of Ling Feng's sharp and changeable sword moves, she waved her fist. I have to be more attentive. On the mountain. Ling Feng was also reviewing his battle with Gu Linglong. There are some sword moves that I can use better, I have to pay attention next time. Ding. The host fought with someone for the first time and made the opponent convinced. He is worthy of being the future super invincible God King. The host is rewarded with a truth pill. Truth card? What is this? Reply to the host, the truth pill is a pill that can make people tell the truth. Oh, that's it. Ling Feng suddenly realized. Today's harvest is not bad. I harvested 2 kinds of pills in a row. 10 Shangqing pills and 1 truth pill. He was in a good mood. Then he looked at the empty kitchen without a single bowl and couldn't help but sigh. Let's go to the cafeteria for dinner. Then he went down the mountain. Stopped a disciple on the road and asked. Soon he found the location of the cafeteria. The cafeteria is very large. Because it is dinner time, there are many disciples coming and going. Some disciples are eating and complaining. What's wrong with the chef in this cafeteria? The dishes are getting worse and worse. TSK, look at this braised spare ribs, it's black. I heard that the owner of this cafeteria has a relationship with the elder. You should say less. If you let the other party know, you won't even have food to eat. Ling Feng came to the window and ordered a few dishes casually. Then he found an empty seat and sat down. Let's eat. But as soon as he put a bite of scrambled eggs in his mouth, Ling Feng couldn't help frowning, and then couldn't help spitting on the table. Someone noticed him and was amazed. Who is this person? Is he here to find trouble in the cafeteria? I don't know, I guess he has a bad appetite. Ling Feng didn't pay attention to the eyes of others and ate a few more bites. But without exception, he spit them all out. The more he ate, the more he frowned. Finally, his face became unusually gloomy. He stood up and dumped the dishes into the trash can, then found a bottle of water to rinse his mouth. The chefs in the cafeteria had already walked out dissatisfied. One of them held an iron spoon and snorted coldly, Boy, what are you doing? Eat a bite and spit it out. Do you have any opinions about us? Yes, and it's a big problem. Ling Feng nodded, these things are not dishes at all, but plates of poison. The contents of your cafeteria must have been eaten by a dog, so you think of using gutter oil to cook. You are endangering the entire Baiyun sect. Several chefs heard the words and their faces changed. Boy, what are you talking about here? What gutter oil? What is that? Don't talk nonsense. You are exaggerating. Ling Feng ignored them and said lightly, I will report this matter to the sect master and let him decide. You just wait to be punished. After that, he said to the disciples in the cafeteria, Everyone, don't eat these dishes. Eating too much will harm your body. Episode 13, Effect of the True Word Pill, Baiyun Sect, Xing Hall. All the people in the cafeteria, the purchasers, the chefs, and even the hall master were all captured and knelt on the ground. In front of them were dishes. These dishes looked fine except for the taste. So all of them denied it. Especially the hall master who was in the lead, he said calmly, I have always been dedicated to Baiyun Sect and have never done anything to harm Baiyun Sect. Xing Hall arrested us here for interrogation because of a disciple's words. Isn't it too much? Does the Great Elder know about this? Oh, you mean, if the Great Elder knows, we can't arrest you, right? A cold voice sounded. The Baiyun Sect master walked in. Seeing him, the canteen master was no longer arrogant and said respectfully, Hello, master. Please give me a clear name. As soon as he opened his mouth, he made it clear that he was wronged. The Baiyun Sect master snorted, Whether you are innocent or not, Xingtong will naturally give you an explanation, not me. Ling Feng, as the discoverer of the gutter oil incident, also followed behind the Baiyun Sect master, looking at the canteen master, and threw a detection technique at him. LV Kai, the canteen master of the Baiyun Sect, the nephew of the Baiyun Sect's great elder, is greedy, petty, and greedy. In order to make money, he did not hesitate to use cheap gutter oil, embezzle the canteen funds, and embezzle his own money. The detection technique has made it very clear. This person is the mastermind behind the gutter oil incident. But how can we make this person confess? Ling Feng suddenly thought of the Jinyan pill he had obtained not long ago. His eyes lit up and he whispered a few words to the Baiyun Sect master. The other party looked at him suspiciously. Jinyan pill? There is such a magical pill in the world. It doesn't matter if you try it anyway. The Baiyun Sect master nodded, and then took the pill handed over by Ling Feng. He grabbed the canteen master, opened his mouth, and stuffed the pill into his mouth. The other party looked horrified, thinking that the other party was giving him some poison. He said in a panic, Sect master, you are torturing me. Even if I confess, you will find it difficult to convince me. Don't worry, it's not poison, it's just a pill that can make you tell the truth. the Baiyun sect master said. Then he glanced at the Xingtong master. The other party understood and continued to force a confession. LV Kai, tell me. Are you using cheap and low-quality oil to enrich yourself without caring about the health of the Baiyun sect disciples? LV Kai sneered in his heart. How could he confess? Yes. LV Kai sneered. But as soon as he said that, his face froze. How could this happen? What did he just say? The chefs and the staff behind him were also confused. Master, what are you talking about? Did you hear wrong? How could we do that? The head of Xinghal was also stunned. Is the effect of this pill so obvious? He asked again, tell me, where does this oil come from? We buy some pig viscera, dead pork and pigskin that they don't want from the slaughterhouse at the foot of the mountain. In addition, we also sent people to collect swill, leftovers and vegetables from major restaurants in the city, and extract them. The head of the canteen said it all in one breath. The more he spoke, the more sweat he got on his forehead. Shut up. Shut up. Don't say it. He was screaming in his heart, trying to control himself, but it was useless. The effect of the truth pill was not something he could resist. The head of Xinghal and the head of Baiyun sect turned pale when they heard it. All the people in the cafeteria also collapsed on the ground with pale faces. It's over. Everything is over. The head of Xingtong suppressed his anger and continued to force a confession. I learned that the cafeteria not only used gutter oil, but also used many inferior ingredients. Are you still a human being if you ignore the health of the disciples of Baiyun sect? Aren't you afraid of any problems from eating? No. These things may cause big problems for ordinary people, but the disciples of Baiyun sect are all martial artists, strong and healthy, so no matter how much they eat, there will be no problem, at most they will just have diarrhea. You are wrong. Ling Feng snorted coldly at the side. Even if they are martial artists, if they eat these things for a long time, their martial arts progress will inevitably be affected. In other words, you are ruining the future of the disciples of Baiyun sect. So what? As long as they don't kill people, it's fine. The owner of the cafeteria said. He had collapsed on the ground, his face ashen. He couldn't control his mouth at all. The words in his heart came out one after another. Asshole. This time, the great elder of Baiyun sect walked into Xinghal and just heard what the other party said. He roared and slapped the other party's head with one palm. The head of Baiyun sect grabbed his hand. If you want to kill him, don't rush at this moment. Let him confess all the people related to this matter first. The head of Baiyun sect looked deeply at the great elder. Then, Lu Kai named the people involved in the gutter oil incident one by one. Chefs, procurement personnel. There were actually more than a dozen people involved. And the money they embezzled over the years was as high as hundreds of thousands of taels. I am the head of Xinghal, and my net worth is only a few thousand taels. You are the head of a canteen, and you are dozens of times more than me. The head of Xinghal sneered. Ling Feng blinked on the side. So Baiyun sect is so poor? He still has hundreds of top-grade spirit stones on him. One piece of top-grade spirit stone is worth 10,000 taels. Then he has millions of taels on him now. He shouldn't be richer than the elders combined. Grand Elder, this LV Kai is your nephew, do you know about this? Baiyun sect master looked at the Grand Elder and asked lightly. The Grand Elder's expression froze. In addition, judging from his eagerness to kill LV Kai just now, the other party probably knew about it. Thinking of this, Baiyun sect master said coldly, answer me. Grand Elder. Replying to sect master, I do know that LV Kai has embezzled money, but I really don't know that he dared to be so crazy and disregard the health of the disciples of Baiyun sect. If I knew, I would definitely not let him go. The Grand Elder knew that it was useless to conceal it, so he confessed. He is the Grand Elder of Baiyun sect. And he was not deeply involved in this matter, so he was not guilty of death. Grand Elder, what can I say to you? You are a great elder, but you actually bend the law for personal gain. You disappoint me so much. I will fine you half a year's salary, and you should go back and reflect on your mistakes. As for Lu Kai and the rest of them, all of them should be executed, said Baiyun sect master in a cold voice. Xinghal master nodded, yes. Suddenly, everyone in the hall wailed. Someone looked at Ling Feng and said resentfully, it's all your fault, you jinx. Isn't it just eating some inferior oil? It won't kill people, why do you have to meddle in other people's business? You will not die well, you will not die well. Ling Feng listened to the side with a cold look in his eyes. He had no mercy on these people who were blinded by their own interests. The great elder also looked at Ling Feng deeply. Ling Feng, you have made great contributions at this time, I wonder what reward you want? Bai Yun sect master smiled. I'm just telling you what I know. As a member of the Bai Yun sect, no matter who knows about this, we will not sit idly by and do nothing. I dare not ask for any reward. Ling Feng said with a bow. Bai Yun sect master and Xing Hall master looked at the humble and polite young man in front of them, who took credit but was not arrogant. The more they looked, the more satisfied they were, and their eyes were full of love. Episode 14, A Lot of Effort, New Kitchen Utensils, Ding. Congratulations to the host for exposing the gutter oil incident, maintaining the health of Bai Yun sect disciples, and improving the prestige of the sect, and rewarding a lot of effort. A lot of effort? Ling Feng only felt a warm current flowing through his body. Then his body seemed to become much lighter. He clenched his fists slightly, and his strength seemed to increase a lot. This is not an increase in true energy, but a simple increase in strength. Although you dare not take credit for it, it was you who discovered this matter after all. If you have made a contribution, you should be rewarded. How about this? I will allocate 10,000 taels of funds to your Piaomiao Peak, so that your master doesn't have to run down the mountain to be a ghostwriter. The head of Bai Yun sect smiled faintly. Ling Feng was stunned when he heard this, ghost swordsman? What does it mean? Don't you know yet? Your master went down the mountain a few days ago, saying that he wanted to make money and be a ghost swordsman. He is a person who specializes in catching fugitives with a bounty from the court in exchange for the bounty. Because these fugitives are often extremely vicious and carry swords, the people who catch them are also called ghost swordsmen. So that's how it is. Will the master be in danger? Ling Feng just asked, and then he felt that this question was a bit redundant. Who is Lu Rusi? The number one swordsman in the Great Zhou. Her strength must be beyond doubt. There are few opponents in the Great Zhou who can match her, how could there be danger? Sure enough. The leader of the Bai Yun sect smiled faintly, don't worry, although your master looks unreliable on weekdays, her strength is beyond doubt. That's good, then the leader, I'll leave first if I'm fine. Okay, I'll have someone send the 10,000 taels of funds to Piaomiao Peak. Yeah. Ling Feng did not refuse. If you have money and don't make money, you're a bastard. Soon. The canteen gutter oil incident was widely spread in Bai Yun sect. Many disciples knew about it, and when they thought about the disgusting food they ate in the canteen, many of them vomited on the spot. If it weren't for the elders maintaining order, I'm afraid the canteen would have been smashed. Bai Yun sect also promised to change the canteen owner and strengthen supervision of the canteen in the future to prevent similar incidents from happening again. Everyone quickly turned their attention to Ling Feng, who exposed the incident. Praised him endlessly. Fortunately, we have junior brother Ling Feng this time, otherwise, we don't know how much more suffering we will have to endure in the cafeteria. This rubbish cafeteria is really disappointing. The owner of the cafeteria has been able to enrich himself for so long, isn't it because he has the support of the great elder? Over the years, many people have also reported the problem of the cafeteria's bad food, but there has been no follow-up. Why is the action so fast this time? I think this junior brother Ling Feng is not simple either. What? Don't you know who Ling Feng is? Who? He is the new martial arts saint body. Oh my god, is he so powerful? No wonder he is so good at talking. Bai Yun sect was talking about it. Ling Feng's name quickly spread in Bai Yun sect, and his prestige increased. As his prestige increased, the prestige of the great elder began to decline. After all, the owner of the canteen was his nephew, and now that such a thing had happened, he, the great elder, must be to blame. Many people even suspected that the owner of the canteen had embezzled money, and most of the silver ounces he had earned went into the pocket of the great elder. How could his prestige be further improved? When Ling Feng returned to Piaomiao Peak, it was already dark. Stars were hanging in the sky, twinkling. The bright moon was hanging high, and the moonlight was like water, dimly sprinkling over the entire Piaomiao Peak. He washed up, then went into the house and continued to practice. He took out the elixir he had just obtained today. Shangqing pill. The effect of this thing should be good. Looking at the little finger-sized elixir in his hand, Ling Feng smiled slightly, then swallowed it in one gulp and began to refine the elixir's medicinal power. Boom! The majestic medicinal power vented out of his body. It washed over his limbs and bones, and gradually transformed into true energy. At this moment, the elixir was equivalent to more than a dozen top-grade spirit stones. A night passed. Ling Feng opened his eyes, a gleam of light flashed by. He punched the air, and a sound explosion broke out. Xiantian 7th level. He broke through 2 small realms in one breath. From Xiantian 5th level, directly to 7th level, plus a huge effort, even dealing with a Xiantian 9th level master is not a problem. There are still 9 Shengqing pills, enough for me to break through the realm of martial artist. Although the martial arts are getting harder and harder. But he only has 2 small realms left to become a martial artist. Shengqing pills are enough. He pushed open the door and planned to fetch water to wash up, and what came into view was a large lush purple bamboo forest. It was much better looking than the bare Pyamya Peak at the beginning. These 100 purple bamboos are not enough, let's continue to sow some more. Ling Feng thought to himself. There is no need for the system to continue to reward, and a lot of bamboo seedlings can be directly divided from the existing purple bamboos, and gradually sowed throughout the Pyamya Peak. After washing up, he began to prepare breakfast for himself. Although there were no bowls and chopsticks, there was still a pot. He cooked noodles casually, broke off 2 bamboos as chopsticks, and ate with the pot. But before he had eaten half of it, someone came to visit. It was Gu Linglong. Junior brother. I'm here to see you. Gu Linglong trotted up the mountain, looking at Ling Feng who was eating breakfast, her eyes lit up. Junior brother, you are eating breakfast, and I haven't eaten either. Ah. Ling Feng was stunned for a moment. This senior sister is here to eat for free? By the way, junior brother, I brought you something. Gu Linglong smiled and then took out a lot of exquisite tableware from the storage ring, plates, bowls, chopsticks, pots, ladles, shovels, kitchen knives. Has everything. This is my apology for breaking your plate yesterday. Please accept it. Senior sister, you are too polite. Ling Feng looked at these exquisite tableware and his eyes lit up. As a chef, he really likes these tableware. Although he was polite, he still received the tableware from Chu Feng one by one, and cooked a bowl of noodles for Gu Linglong. A bowl of clear soup noodles, with oil and green onions on it, and 2 perfectly fried eggs were round and plump, which looked delicious. Gu Linglong took a deep breath, picked up the chopsticks, and ate with big mouthfuls. By the way, junior brother, I still have 10,000 taels of silver notes here. Master asked me to bring them to you. I also heard about what you did in the cafeteria. It's great. Gu Linglong took out a stack of silver notes while eating. He also gave Ling Feng a thumbs up. You should concentrate on eating first, be careful not to choke. Ling Feng said helplessly. After a while, Gu Linglong drank up the big bowl of noodles, including the noodle soup. There was no food residue in the bowl, as if it had been licked. Gu Linglong burped, and a satisfied smile appeared on her face. By the way, junior brother, although you exposed the cafeteria incident and received a reward from Master, you must be careful in the future, so as not to be retaliated by the lineage of the Great Elder. Gu Linglong suddenly said solemnly. The lineage of the Great Elder? Yes, the Great Elder has coveted the position of the sect master for a long time, but has never had the opportunity to do it. This time, you exposed the cafeteria incident, and the owner of the cafeteria is the nephew of the Great Elder. This matter has dealt a great blow to his prestige, making him one step further away from the position of sect master. You have offended him to death. I see, if he wants to retaliate, then let him come. Ling Feng said lightly, not afraid at all. His master is the #1 sword cultivator in the Great Zhou. He himself is also a highly respected martial arts saint. What is he afraid of? Chapter 15 Famous Sword Manual, 7-Star Dragon Abyss, 1/2. Ling Feng spoke calmly, not afraid of the revenge of the Great Elder. In Gu Linglong's eyes, it became a proof that he was not afraid of the powerful and was open-minded. For a moment, she admired him even more. Junior brother, you are really so upright. Don't worry, with my master here, I will never let you suffer any grievances in Baiyun sect. Gu Linglong patted her chest and promised. She chatted with Ling Feng for a while. When talking about the 10,000 taels of funds, Gu Linglong said, I see that you don't seem to have a handy weapon in your hand, why don't you buy a sword? Buy a sword? That's not bad. Ling Feng touched his chin, a little excited. O button blood type. A button blood type. 10,000 taels should be enough to buy a good sword. Oh, it's more than enough, as long as you don't think about buying those famous swords in the famous sword list. Gu Linglong smiled. Famous sword list? Yes, the famous sword list of the great Zhou dynasty, don't you know? Please teach me, senior sister. Wait a minute. Gu Linglong took out a book from the storage ring, with the words famous sword list of the great Zhou dynasty written on it. Ling Feng took it curiously and flipped through it. The famous sword list of the Great Zhou dynasty is a list jointly compiled by the official Great Zhou dynasty and the Jianghu. In addition to the famous sword list, there are also the three major lists of the divine weapon list, the grandmaster list, and the heavenly list. Let's not talk about these three lists. There are a total of 100 famous swords in this famous sword list, all of which are the world's first-class magical weapons. Gu Linglong introduced. Ling Feng flipped through the famous sword list and read it with relish. The 100th place in the famous sword list, Sky Wind Sword. The 93rd place, Snow Dragon Sword. The 81st place, Star Mark Sword. The 41st place, Pure Heart Sword. The 9th place, Autumn Water Sword. The 7th place, 7-Star Dragon Abyss. The 5th place, 9 Heavens Thunder. The 1st place, Splitting the Sky. Just as Ling Feng was flipping through the sword list. My dear disciple, I'm back. Lu Rusi's voice came from outside the house. As soon as she came back, she saw the purple bamboo forest and blinked. Did I go to the wrong hill? But she took a look at the wooden house in the purple bamboo forest. It was indeed the wooden house where she lived, right? She pushed open the door. In the wooden house, Gu Linglong and Ling Feng stood up to greet him. Seeing a strange woman in her house with a pair of bowls and chopsticks in her hands, Lu Rusi narrowed her eyes slightly. Her eyes patrolled back and forth between Ling Feng and Gu Linglong, and a hint of playfulness appeared at the corner of her mouth. My dear disciple, this girl is. I am Gu Linglong, a true disciple of Taishu Peak. This time I came to Piaomia Peak to give a reward to my junior brother. Gu Linglong explained. I see. Lu Rusi suddenly realized. I have delivered the reward, so I won't bother you two anymore. Gu Linglong smiled faintly. Hey, I'm leaving right after I get here. Don't be so formal. Elder Lu, you're joking. I still have to go back and report to my master. Oh, then come often when you have time. No one comes to Piaomia Peak on weekdays. It would be good if you come often to add to our popularity. Lu Rusi said enthusiastically. Of course, the food made by junior brother is delicious. I will come often. Gu Linglong smiled and then left. As if she thought of something, she turned around and said, by the way, junior brother, I'm looking forward to your performance in the sect competition in half a month. Sect competition? It was the first time Ling Feng heard of it. But he knew what it was just by hearing the name. What a good girl. Looking at the direction where Gu Linglong left, Lu Rusi smiled slightly, and then looked at Ling Feng teasingly. My dear disciple, how are you? Are you interested? What interest? I picked her up. Ahem. Ling Feng, who was drinking water, coughed a few times and rolled his eyes. Master, why are you so unruly? I have only known my sister for a few days. What's the big deal? There are many people who fall in love at first sight. Hee hee. Ling Feng chuckled and stopped asking, Master, did you gain anything from going out this time? The gain is huge. Lu Rusi smiled and took out a package. She opened it and saw that it was full of silver bills and a few gold ingots. Master, did you rob a bank? What nonsense are you talking about? This is the reward for catching a fugitive. With this money, we can eat delicious food and drink spicy drinks every day. It's no problem for us to go to Tianquan Villa every day. By the way, I also brought you a gift. Lu Rusi took out a sword from the storage ring. The ink-colored scabbard was inlaid with 7 gorgeous gems, and the sword guard was in the shape of a dragon head. There were dragon scale patterns on the hilt. This sword looked very good. Ling Feng looked at the sword, but the more he looked at it, the more familiar it felt. This sword. No, it can't be. Am I seeing it right? Ling Feng quickly picked up the famous sword manual and flipped through it a few times. Turn to the first few pages. 7-Star Dragon Abyss, the 7th on the list of famous swords. 300 years ago, the swordsmith Oyezi mined red copper iron and gathered the energy of dragon veins to forge it. On the day the sword was completed, a real dragon rose into the sky, and the dragon roared for thousands of miles, and the Big Dipper resonated with it, hence the name. 7-Star Dragon Abyss. It is said that this sword has great luck. Those who get this sword will be blessed with luck, like a latent dragon emerging from the abyss, soaring into the sky. This sword is unruly and is stored deep in the Songjian villa of the Great Zhou dynasty. It is said that no one has been able to control it for 100 years. Master, this can't be the 7-star dragon abyss. It is. Lu Rusi laughed, quite proud. This sword is okay, you can use it for now, and when you become stronger in the future, your master will find you a better one. Ling Feng's mouth twitched. This is the 7-star dragon abyss. The 7th in the Great Zhou famous swords. It is the magic weapon that countless sword cultivators dream of. Even a warrior of the martial king or martial lord level would be moved when he sees it. In the mouth of his master, it is just okay? Awesome. Wait, isn't this sword in Songjian villa? Master, how did you get it? Ling Feng asked curiously. Nothing, I just went to fight with the owner of Songjian villa. Anyway, it would be a waste to keep this sword with them, so why not give it to you? If I remember correctly, the owner of Songjian villa is a well-known warrior in the Great Zhou. His cultivation has reached the realm of martial king, right? Well, TSK, after practicing for more than 100 years, he is only a martial king. It's so embarrassing. Lu Rusi curled her lips. She looked disdainful at the other party. Master, what realm are you in? Ling Feng asked the doubts that had been in his mind for a long time. Just barely, invincible in the world. She smiled slightly, and said the most arrogant words in the most frivolous tone. Ling Feng didn't know whether what she said was true or not. There was no way to verify it. But the other party's words gave Ling Feng a lot of confidence. Just take what the master said as true. There is an invincible master in the world. Plus a system that gives out various rewards. He will be sorry if he doesn't walk sideways in the future. After getting the 7-star dragon abyss, Ling Feng was very happy. He took this sword everywhere. He easily pulled out the sword and practiced the swordsmanship in the open space. The sword energy was like a gust of wind, and the sound of dragon roars was faintly heard. The sword and the person seemed to have some kind of resonance. Dragon energy rushed to the sky. It's so easy to get the recognition of the 7-star dragon abyss. It turns out that he has the same clear sword heart as me. It's worthy of being my good disciple. Lu Rusi watched from the side with a gentle smile on her face. Episode 16, I am very strong now. Ling Feng, Qixing Long Yuan, the resonance between man and sword, the sword energy is like a dragon soaring into the sky. For a moment, everyone in Baiyun sect felt something. They looked at the golden dragon shadow cruising in the sky, and couldn't help but discuss. What is this vision? Has someone broken through the realm of Martial King? Only by breaking through the Martial King can it be possible to attract the spiritual energy of heaven and earth and form the vision of the kingly way. No, it's not the vision of the kingly way, this is some kind of sword energy. The leader of Baiyun sect and the elder were also thoughtful. That is the direction of Piomio Peak. Could it be that Lu Rusi did it? On the other side. In the Songjian villa, the owner of the villa sat cross-legged, with a sword across his knees, and his sword intent was flowing, dazzling, and overwhelming. Suddenly, he sensed something and glanced in the direction of Baiyun sect. His eyes penetrated through the layers and saw the strange phenomenon of dragon energy rising to the sky. He couldn't help but shake his head and sigh. 7-star dragon abyss has a master. Recalling his battle with Lu Rusi, he couldn't help but feel a little depressed. How could that guy be so strong? Didn't he say that the other party had already fallen? Baiyun sect, Piomio Peak. Ling Feng is a master of swordsmanship, and his swordsmanship is naturally coordinated. He has reached the state of unity between man and sword. When he stopped, the true energy in his body had already surged, breaking through from the 7th level of innate to the 9th level of innate in one breath. There is only one step left to become a martial artist. And it has been less than a month since he stepped into the martial arts. Ding! The host has entered the state of unity between man and sword for the first time, and successfully obtained the recognition of the 7-star dragon abyss as the master, shocking all parties and rewarding the host with sword potential. Sword potential? What is it? The next second, Ling Feng only felt a mysterious feeling in his mind, and he began to exude an extremely sharp aura. The whole person was like a sharp and peerless sword. The 7-star dragon abyss in his hand made a sword chant, which was even more domineering with the sword momentum. Lu Rusi was watching from the side. After noticing the sword momentum, her eyes lit up and she laughed. you are worthy of being my disciple. You have realized the sword momentum so quickly. Ling Feng asked curiously, Master, what is sword momentum? Momentum is a mysterious power between heaven and earth. Only when martial artists in the world can they comprehend momentum, can they be considered to have entered the realm of martial arts. And there are various kinds of momentum. For example, boxers comprehend boxing momentum, and swordsmen comprehend sword momentum. There are 9 levels of momentum. You are only at the first level now, but at your age, it is quite impressive to be able to comprehend momentum. In time, you will be able to comprehend not only momentum, but also the true meaning above momentum. Your master is optimistic about you. Lu Rusi patted Ling Feng on the shoulder and encouraged him. At this time, the White Cloud sect master slowly came over and looked at Ling Feng, who was emitting momentum. His pupils shrank. Ling Feng, you have realized momentum? How is it? My disciple is amazing, right? More than amazing, it's terrifying. The White Cloud sect master said absent-mindedly. When he was promoted to Wuling, he barely felt the existence of momentum. But Ling Feng, less than a month after practicing, felt the momentum. This talent is so many dimensions higher than his. Wait, that sword. Baiyun sect master then discovered something, looked at the sword in Ling Feng's hand, and trembled. This is the 7th 7-star dragon abyss in the famous swords list. Isn't this sword in Tsangjian Villa? How come it is in Ling Feng's hand? I went to Tsangjian Villa and they gave it to me. Why would they give you the 7-star dragon abyss for no reason? What did you do? Tell me quickly. Baiyun sect master asked anxiously. Tsangjian Villa's foundation is only stronger than Baiyun sect. If this is not handled properly, it will be a big trouble. Brother, don't worry. I just had a fight with the owner of Tsangjian Manor. I won him, and he gave me this sword. Lu Rusi said lightly. Baiyun sect master rolled his eyes and almost fainted. You beat the owner of Tsangjian Manor, and he gave you the sword? Are you sure you didn't rob him? Brother, you have too little confidence in my character. Would I do that? Lu Rusi curled her lips. Junior sister, you can just lie to others with this, don't lie to yourself. Brother, Humph, if you don't believe me, you should believe the owner of Tsangjian Manor. He said that he will not cause trouble for Baiyun sect. Well, the owner of Tsangjian Manor is also a well-known giant in the Great Zhou dynasty. His words are as good as gold. Since he said so, it makes people feel relieved. Baiyun sect master breathed a sigh of relief. He glanced at Ling Feng, who was holding the 7-star dragon abyss, and said, You took this dragon abyss sword to give it to Ling Feng, right? For Ling Feng's sake, I won't pursue your misdeeds this time. Ling Feng is the future of my Baiyun sect, you have to guide him well, the future of Baiyun sect depends on you. I know, stop nagging. Lu Rusi pouted, and after driving away the Baiyun sect master, she stretched, I'm so hungry, my good disciple, cook me a bowl of noodles. Ling Feng looked at the 7-star dragon abyss in his hand and nodded, okay. In a blink of an eye. Half a month passed slowly. During this period, the entire Baiyun sect was bustling. The reason was that the Baiyun sect competition was about to begin. It was the most lively event in the Baiyun sect. All the disciples were working hard to win the first place in this competition. Lu Rusi also signed up for Ling Feng. This sect competition is a good opportunity for you to gain experience. Remember, don't embarrass me. Let those guys see how powerful Piao Miao Peak is. Lu Rusi smiled and placed high hopes on Ling Feng. I understand. Ling Feng nodded. Since he had embarked on the road of martial arts, he naturally had some desire to win. He doesn't participate, he will be the first. On the eve of the sect competition, Ling Feng sat down in a stream, took out 2 Shangqing pills and swallowed them into his stomach. The medicinal power of the pills flowed in his body. It turned into a warm current. His momentum began to rise steadily. Bang! It was as if he had broken some shackles. He broke through in one fell swoop and reached the realm of martial artist. His true energy was extremely condensed. He raised his hand and urged it, and a faint golden light bloomed in the night sky. He was a martial arts saint. Any martial arts method in his place could burst out with stronger power, and the same was true for the misty unparalleled sword classic. In this way, I am more confident in this sect competition. Ling Feng smiled faintly. Ding! Congratulations to the host for breaking through the martial artist realm and taking a step further on the road to the God King. The host is rewarded with the power of 9 oxen and 2 tigers. Huh? 9 oxen and 2 tigers again? Ling Feng felt a series of crackling sounds coming from his body. His strength increased dramatically. 9 oxen and 2 tigers plus 9 oxen and 2 tigers. Now, even without using true qi, he can kill an elephant with one punch. I am very strong now, Ling Feng said confidently. In another room, Lu Rusi sensed the breath of Ling Feng's breakthrough and exclaimed, "What a little monster, he broke through the martial arts master so quickly. I guess in a few years, he can become a martial arts master, or even a martial arts king. Maybe, he will be my hope." As if she thought of something, Lu Rusi's eyes gradually showed expectation. Episode 17. The sect competition begins, and the first battle is a victory. The sect competition begins. In the square of Baiyun sect, around a ring, many disciples gathered. From ordinary disciples to true disciples. Everyone is looking forward to it. I wonder who will be the champion of this sect competition. I think it's senior brother Feng Xiaoyao. Senior brother Feng? His strength is indeed amazing. It is said that he is close to the realm of Wu Ling. Some outer sect elders are not his opponents. Tisk, compared to senior brother Feng, I am more optimistic about senior sister Lang Ningxuang. She once fought a tie with Wu Ling. That's true. In fact, senior brother Zhang Ruochen also has a good chance. Everyone was talking. At this time, someone discovered something and exclaimed, "Look, who is that?" Not far away. Ling Feng, dressed in a white gown, with a sword hanging from his waist and black hair like a waterfall, walked slowly. As soon as he appeared, he became the focus of everyone present. Oh my god! This young man is so handsome. Which sect is he from? The man on the road is like jade, and the young master is unparalleled in the world. Now I finally know what is the most beautiful man in the world. I declare that he is my new husband. Oh my bitter tea seeds seem to be wet. Go away, don't be naughty here. Don't you know who he is? This is the junior brother Ling Feng who exposed the cafeteria corruption incident. The martial arts saint. What? It's him, no wonder he looks so handsome. With infinite charm, Ling Feng can become the focus wherever he goes. At this time, he walked towards the ring and immediately attracted everyone's attention. Immediately, he stopped under a big tree, under the shade of the tree, quietly waiting for the sect competition to begin. Just standing there, he seemed to blend with the surrounding world, and the breeze blew his hair, like a painting. At this moment, everyone understood what it meant to be a divine face. Junior brother. At this time, Gu Linglong ran up and greeted Ling Feng. Ling Feng saw her and smiled, "Hello, senior sister." This smile made many senior sisters feel drunk. Wow, he smiles so cutely. No, I really want to play with him. What to play? Who is this woman? She is so close to junior brother? Many women looked at Gu Linglong. There was a hint of sharp hostility in their eyes. Gu Linglong suddenly felt a chill on her back, but then she raised her chin slightly, showing a little pride, and leaned closer to Ling Feng. Looking at those women, there was a sense of showing off. Everyone was so angry that they gritted their teeth. Junior brother, how about it, are you confident in this sect competition? I'll try my best. Ling Feng smiled slightly. Soon. An elder stepped onto the stage, he took out a booklet and announced, "The sect competition begins, the first game, Zhang Ruochen vs. Dearman Jia." Whoosh. A figure in white fluttered onto the stage. It was Zhang Ruochen, whom Ling Feng had met once before. His opponent had a bitter face. I'm facing a true disciple of Xinjian Peak in the first match. This luck is really amazing. He also jumped onto the ring, but he no longer had any hope in his heart. The two sides began to compete. As expected, Zhang Ruochen won with just 2 moves. After leaving the ring, he also came to Ling Feng and smiled, "Junior brother, long time no see." "Hello, senior brother." Junior brother has only joined Baiyun sect for only 1 month, and he dared to come to participate in the sect competition. It is really courageous. Senior brother admires you. Zhang Ruochen smiled. Then, he began to introduce various contestants to Ling Feng. He still has a good impression of Ling Feng. Moreover, making friends with a martial arts saint is beneficial to him. Next game. Ling Feng vs. Jia Sheng. Hearing this, everyone looked at Ling Feng. Junior brother, be careful, this Jia Sheng's cultivation has reached the 5th level of innate, and he is also the 4th disciple of the great elder. Zhang Ruochen said solemnly. Ling Feng exposed the corruption in the cafeteria and indirectly offended the Great Elder. As the disciple of the Great Elder, Jia Shang will definitely not let him go easily. Feng also knew this and nodded slightly. I know. He walked towards the ring step by step, without any fear on his face. But some people couldn't help but worry. Junior brother Ling has only joined Baiyun sect for more than a month. Even if he is a martial arts saint, how high can his cultivation be? Yes, he is definitely no match for Jia Shang, who is at the 5th level of an 8. Woo woo woo, I wanted to see my junior brother a few more times, but I didn't expect him to lose so soon. I hope there will be a miracle. On the ring. Jia Shang, dressed in black and with narrow eyebrows, stared at Ling Feng and sneered. Martial arts saint Ling Feng, huh, I have heard of you a long time ago, but it's a pity that you have only practiced for more than a month and can't be my opponent. I advise you to surrender obediently to avoid physical pain. Senior brother, I appreciate your kindness, but I still want to try. You want to ask for trouble, so you can't blame me. Whoosh. Jia Shang attacked fiercely. 5 fingers opened and grabbed Ling Feng's cheek. Everyone was shocked when they saw this. Especially some female disciples, they were shocked and angry. What? How could he have the heart to do that to such a face? Asshole, don't hit me in the face. Jia Shang's eyes flashed coldly. After practicing in Baiyun sect for so many years, his reputation has always been tepid, but as soon as Ling Feng appeared, he became the focus of everyone's attention. This made him very unhappy. Isn't it just a face? I'll tear your face apart, and see how you can still be the center of attention? Sensing Jia Shang's sinister thoughts, Ling Feng's eyes also showed coldness. His right hand grabbed the opponent's wrist like lightning, and then squeezed it hard. With a snap, the opponent's palm bones burst directly. Ah! Jia Shang let out a shrill wail, his face full of horror. How could this happen? Ling Feng lifted his hand with a cold face and threw him off the ring. The opponent fell directly to the ground, embarrassed. Seeing this, everyone was dumbfounded. The 5th level of an 8, just lost like this? Damn, he is so strong. He doesn't seem to use his true energy, just using brute force to throw Jia Shang, who is the 5th level of an 8, off the ring. He is too powerful. On a high platform not far away. The leader of Baiyun sect and the elders were also watching the battle. Originally, they, like everyone else, thought that Ling Feng had little chance of winning. But unexpectedly, the opponent gave them such a surprise. This Ling Feng, what a great strength. Is he born with supernatural power? With the martial arts holy body plus the natural supernatural power, this person has a bright future. Everyone looked at Ling Feng, looking forward to his future more and more. And some disciples who participated in the sect competition looked at Ling Feng, and they were also eager to try. Martial arts holy body Ling Feng? Interesting. Maybe he will be a strong opponent. Without using true qi, he can defeat the innate 5th level with his strength alone. It seems that there will be a dark horse in this sect competition. I hope I won't be too disappointed. After winning the game, Ling Feng jumped off the ring. Ding! Congratulations to the host for winning the first battle in the sect competition, and the host will be rewarded with 100,000 taels of silver. Episode 18. Too much money to spend. For Ling Feng, defeating Jia Shang was just a piece of cake. But such a piece of cake could earn him 100,000 taels of silver. I can only say, the system rewards are really becoming more and more unreasonable. Shook his head and went back to the tree to continue chatting with Zhang Ruochen and Gu Linglong, while the sect competition continued. From day to evening. The first day passed like this. In the evening, Ling Feng returned to Piaomiao Peak. Gu Linglong and Zhang Ruochen were also with him. They all came to eat for free. When Gu Linglong talked about Ling Feng's cooking skills, Zhang Ruochen also became interested. Ling Feng didn't mind. After buying a bunch of vegetables, he returned to Piaomiao Peak and started to get busy. Looking at the dishes brought out from the kitchen, Zhang Ruochen couldn't help swallowing his saliva. Junior brother's cooking skills are really superb. After eating and drinking, Lu Rusi was picking her teeth. Gu Linglong was massaging her shoulders and back to get closer to her. Zhang Ruochen was washing dishes in the kitchen. This made Ling Feng feel relieved. Finally, someone who can wash dishes has come. The moon was hanging on the branches. Gu Linglong and Zhang Ruochen left one after another. Lu Rusi asked about Ling Feng's performance today, and he told her everything. Well, with your martial arts master level and martial arts saint body, as long as you don't meet those few true disciples who are close to martial spirits, almost no one can match you. Lu Rusi yawned and said. As long as I keep winning, I will meet them eventually. Master, what do you think my chances of winning against them are? 1%. So low? Ling Feng was stunned. He thought it was at least 50-50. Oh, I mean they only have a 1/10 chance of winning. Lu Rusi said lightly. Ling Feng smiled slightly. So Master has such confidence in me. Then I, the disciple, have to work harder and win the first place. The sect competition continued. 7 days passed in a row. Ling Feng also went to the ring several times, and all ended with his victory. And the most surprising thing is, from the beginning to the end of the sect competition, Ling Feng has never used his true energy, and has always won by relying on his strength. 9 oxen and 2 tigers plus 9 oxen and 2 tigers. It's so terrifying. Next game. Ling Feng versus Wang Su. It was Ling Feng's turn to go to the ring again. The crowd below the stage cheered. Ling Feng, Ling Feng. Ling Feng, senior sister loves you. Come on. Ling Feng, fly with confidence, senior sister will push you from behind. Looking at the enthusiastic female disciples around him, Zhang Ruochen's mouth twitched. Wow, junior brother Ling is really popular. That's right, it is said that many people have spontaneously formed a cheering group, and they get together every day to discuss junior brother Ling Feng. Gu Linglong laughed at the side. Are you also a member of the cheering group? I am the leader of the cheering group. Gu Linglong raised her chin slightly, looking proud. After that, she also shouted loudly like the other female disciples next to her. Come on, junior brother. Junior brother is mighty. Ling Feng, Ling Feng, Ling Feng, Ling Peak. On the ring. Ling Feng's opponent Wang Su looked at the many disciples who were cheering below, his face was ashen, and then he shouted, shut up. The voice was mixed with rolling true energy, very domineering. His cultivation had reached the level of a martial artist. And among martial artists, he was probably not a weakling. Everyone was shocked by his aura and could not help but pause. Wang Su snorted, feeling proud in his heart. But then, a louder voice sounded. Why are you yelling so loudly? What the hell is it to you if we cheer for Ling Feng? Martial artists are great. I'm also a martial artist, come down if you have the guts. Come on, Ling Feng. I remember, this Wang Su is the second disciple of the great elder, no wonder he can't stand seeing us cheering for Ling Feng. Humph, no one is cheering for him, he's jealous. On the stage, Wang Su's face became more and more gloomy. He simply ignored it and looked at Ling Feng who walked onto the stage with cold eyes. I'll step on you later, and see how these people can still be so arrogant. After saying that, he took a step forward, and the martial artist's true energy burst out. He slapped out with his palm, and the palm power was like waves. It was one of the martial arts of the Baiyun sect, the wave palm. Ling Feng punched out, still without using his true energy, and his strength burst out, hitting the opponent's palm, and both of them retreated. Come again. Wang Su continued to attack, taking a step forward, and while moving his body, he even used a kind of body movement, and his figure was erratic like a ghost. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind Ling Feng. Ling Feng noticed something strange, and the true energy in his body had already burst out. Boom! The true energy was glowing with golden light, covering his whole body. Wang Su slammed his palm on the true energy, as if hitting a piece of gold and iron, and his arm was numb. Martial artist level? You actually have also reached the level of martial artist. Wang Su's pupils shrank, and he couldn't believe it. After just over a month of training, he has already advanced from an ordinary person to a martial artist. Did you train like a rocket? This is too much. Not to mention Wang Su, even the Baiyun sect master and several elders were shocked. Oh my god, he is really at the martial arts master level. How long has he been here? Ling Feng is too abnormal, isn't he? No matter how exaggerated the martial arts saint body is, it's not this level. What a monster. He can block the martial arts master's attack with just the protective true chi. The martial arts saint body is really extraordinary and cannot be compared with ordinary martial artists of the same level. After repelling Wang Su with the protective true chi, Ling Feng turned around and slapped out with his palm. The true chi was like a flood. Boom! Wang Su was hit hard and flew backwards on the spot and fell outside the ring. Ling Feng, win. Everyone was surprised at Ling Feng's level at first, but then they couldn't help but shout. Junior brother Ling Feng is great. Haha, he has reached the martial arts master level within 1 month of joining the sect. Who else can do that? Who else can do that? Wow, junior brother Ling Feng is invincible. On the high platform, the White Cloud sect master laughed and was extremely happy. With such a disciple, the White Cloud sect will surely prosper. However, the great elder was completely different from the sect master and the elders. His face was slightly gloomy. He stared at Ling Feng with a hint of gloom in his eyes. He already had 2 disciples who were defeated by Ling Feng one after another. In addition to the cafeteria incident, he only felt resentment towards this martial arts saint at this moment. We must not let him become the champion of this sect competition, otherwise his prestige in the sect will be at its peak, and it will be even more difficult to deal with him. In the next game, he must lose. Ding! Congratulations to the host for winning the sect competition again. Your prestige has been raised to a higher level. The host will be rewarded with 1 million taels of silver. The system voice sounded again. Ling Feng was quite helpless. System, every time I win a game, you will give me silver, from 100,000 taels to 1 million taels. Are you planning to make me the richest man in the Great Zhou? What's the point of being the richest man in the Great Zhou? Host, you are the future super invincible god king, and you should be the richest man in the world. Okay, you have the final say. Ling Feng said nothing more. Although there is too much money to spend, it will be useful one day. Let him bear this kind of happy distress silently. Episode 19. Defeat Feng Xiao, Power of One Elephant. After winning again, Ling Feng easily jumped off the stage. Everyone rushed to greet him. Junior brother Ling Feng, you are really amazing. How did you cultivate to the martial arts master level in such a short time? Great. Ling Feng looked at the crowd that gathered around him with a faint smile on his face. He didn't say much, just smiled and walked through the crowd. According to past experience, a person can only participate in 1 competition a day at most. So he didn't stay and returned to Piaomiao Peak. Soon after, Gu Linglong and Zhang Ruochen also came. However, the former's face was not very good. Ling Feng thought about it and immediately guessed it. Senior sister Gu, lost? Yeah. Gu Linglong nodded frustratedly. Ling Feng smiled and said, Sister, like me, you have not been in Baiyun sect for long. It is not easy to get to this point. He comforted her. Gu Linglong's mood improved slightly. Junior brother Ling, you don't have time to worry about others now. The elders have just announced the list of the top 8 and your next opponent. Zhang Ruochen said solemnly, it's Feng Xiaoyao. Feng Xiaoyao? This name sounds like an incredible character. Ling Feng smiled while touching his chin. Well, he is the first disciple of the elder. The hot candidate for the championship of this sect competition, his cultivation is the 9th level of martial arts master. The 9th level of martial arts master is much higher than him. I wonder how strong he is. Ling Feng looked forward to it. The next day, the sect competition began. Many disciples were discussing the next battle. Today is the first match of the quarterfinals. I heard that Feng Xiaoyao will face junior brother Ling Feng. TSK, junior brother Ling Feng is in trouble. Yes, Feng Xiaoyao is the first disciple of the great elder, a 9th level martial artist, and very powerful. I'm afraid junior brother Ling Feng is not his opponent. Don't underestimate junior brother, he is a martial arts saint, but Feng Xiaoyao is not weak either. I heard that he also has some kind of martial arts physique, and his combat power is also better than that of ordinary martial artists. In the crowd, everyone was talking endlessly. At this time, a young man in a green robe with sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes jumped onto the stage. His hair was flying, but there was an unruly feeling. It was Feng Xiaoyao. Not far from him, Ling Feng also walked slowly. Looking at the young junior brother in front of him, Feng Xiaoyao showed a touch of admiration in his eyes. Junior brother, you are extraordinary to be able to reach the quarterfinals. Senior brother, you are too kind. But unfortunately, my master has ordered me to do my best to defeat you, so today, you have to stop here. Feng Xiaoyao smiled. Please teach me. Ling Feng said nothing and jumped onto the ring. The two of them bowed. Then Feng Xiaoyao took a step forward, as fast as lightning, and grabbed Ling Feng with 5 fingers, which contained domineering true energy. Ling Fengchuan punched out. The strength of 9 oxen and 2 tigers plus true energy circulated together. The fists and palms met, and Feng Xiaoyao was shocked back several steps. Ling Feng also took a step back. But everyone couldn't help but exclaimed. Look, Feng Xiaoyao retreated 4 steps, but junior brother Ling Feng only retreated 1 step. Junior brother Ling Feng actually got the upper hand. Great. Ling Feng is really great. The martial arts saint body is really extraordinary. It seems that junior brother Ling Feng still has a good chance of winning. Many female disciples looked at Ling Feng, their beautiful eyes shining. Feng Xiaoyao smiled and said, well, what a great martial arts saintly body. If that's the case, then I won't hide it anymore. Watch me, hurricane martial arts body. Open. He shouted. The true energy in Feng Xiaoyao's body swept out like a storm. It is a powerful martial arts physique. Brother, be careful. This hurricane martial arts body can double my speed and increase my attack power by at least 50%. Feng Xiaoyao said, and his figure disappeared like the wind. The next second, he appeared behind Ling Feng. In his hand, an iron fan appeared at some point. The iron fan was like a knife, hitting Ling Feng's shoulder. But he saw golden true energy flowing on his body, and the iron fan made a sound of gold and iron when it hit him, but the huge force also made Ling Feng's body tremble. The next second, the 7-star dragon abyss on his waist was unsheathed. The moment the sword came out, the edge swept, and a dragon roar shook the sky. The sword energy surged like a raging wave, and Feng Xiaoyao was directly repelled. Looking at Ling Feng holding a long sword and surrounded by dragon energy, his eyes were full of shock. This is the 7th in the famous sword collection. 7-star dragon abyss? How could this sword be in your hand? Not only Feng Xiaoyao, but others and even the elders in the stands couldn't help but stand up, their faces full of shock. 7-star dragon abyss, it turned out to be this sword. Wait, how did he get this sword? Isn't it in Songjian Villa? It was the Baiyun sect master who sat in the same place, looking calm and composed. Isn't it just a 7-star dragon abyss? Look at you guys. Master, have you known about this for a long time? How did you know? Humph, if not, how could you be so calm? Ahem, indeed, I just found out about it a few days ago. Don't worry, the 7-star dragon abyss is in Ling Feng's hands, nothing will happen to it. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when they heard this. Then he looked at Ling Feng, with envy in his eyes. 7-star dragon abyss, the 7th of the famous swords, I don't know how many people covet this sword, but I didn't expect that it was in the hands of a little boy. Yes, and this sword has been without a master for nearly 100 years, but Ling Feng can drive this sword. It seems that he is the master of 7-star dragon abyss. On the ring, Ling Feng, who pulled out 7-star dragon abyss, made another move. Various exquisite sword techniques were performed one after another. Liangyi sword technique, Sankai sword technique, Xixiang sword technique. The sword technique formed an overwhelming sword net, completely covering Feng Xiaoyao. Even though the opponent had a hurricane body and was extremely fast, he could not hold on for long in this dense sword net, and his clothes were quickly torn by the sword energy. He looked quite embarrassed. In the end, he raised his hands in surrender. I admit defeat, my junior brother's sword technique is superb, and I am no match for him. My senior brother's body technique is not bad either. Ling Feng followed with a polite remark. Since the sect competition began, the opponent was the first person that he had to use his swordsmanship to deal with. He was much stronger than the others. Congratulations, junior brother, for advancing to the semifinals. I look forward to you becoming the champion. Feng Xiaoyao smiled and jumped off the stage calmly. In the stands, the face of the great elder was extremely gloomy. What the hell is this guy Feng Xiaoyao doing? He actually surrendered and admitted defeat? By doing this, where does my face stand? But he couldn't do anything no matter how angry he was. Ling Feng successfully became one of the semifinals. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully advancing to the semifinals of the sect competition. You are one step closer to becoming the sect champion. Reward the host with the power of the divine elephant. The power of the divine elephant. It also increases strength. Ling Feng asked curiously, which one is more powerful, the power of 9 oxen and 2 tigers or the power of the divine elephant? Reply to the host, the power of 9 oxen and 2 tigers is equivalent to the power of 1 divine elephant. Ling Feng's eyes lit up. In this way, he was equivalent to obtaining the power of 10 oxen and 2 tigers in one breath. Then wouldn't he be able to kill all martial artists in an instant with just his strength? Episode 20. Have you ever heard of the sword control technique? 1/2. Ling Feng defeated Feng Xiaoyao and successfully advanced to the semifinals. This time he did not leave, but got off the stage and watched the others compete. Soon, the other 3 candidates came out. They were Zhang Ruochen, Li Yu, and a woman named Lang Ningxuang. This woman, as her name suggests, was as cold as ice. But she was the strongest among the 3. She was even stronger than Feng Xiaoyao and was almost a martial spirit. The next day, Ling Feng stepped onto the stage again. This time, his opponent was Zhang Ruochen. The other party looked at Ling Feng and smiled slightly. I give up. When this was said, everyone was in an uproar. You give up before the fight even started? Ling Feng was also stunned for a moment. Senior brother Zhang, you don't have to give in to me. I'm really no match for you. Zhang Ruochen was very self-aware. He knew that he couldn't even beat Feng Xiaoyao, so how could he beat Ling Feng who beat Feng Xiaoyao? So he decisively admitted defeat. Hearing this, Ling Feng smiled helplessly. Thank you very much, senior brother, for letting me. Ding. Zhang Ruochen was conquered by the host's personality charm and took the initiative to surrender. Congratulations to the host for successfully entering the finals of the sect competition. Reward the host, sword controlling technique. Ling Feng blinked. People admit defeat on their own, and you give them rewards? This makes him feel like he got something for nothing. Look at this reward. Sword controlling technique. Oh, no. Isn't this for cultivating immortals? But thinking that this world even has storage rings, it's not surprising that there is a sword control technique. After receiving the reward, Ling Feng only felt a lot of information emerging in his mind. In a mysterious way, he and the 7-star dragon abyss in his hand had a little more resonance. Brother Ling, keep going. If you can get first place in the sect competition, it will make history in Baiyun sect. After all, you are probably the only one in the past few hundred years who has become the first in the sect after just over a month of joining. Zhang Ruochen said with a smile when Ling Feng was receiving information about the sword controlling technique. I'll try my best. Ling Feng nodded slightly. Hey, if you two don't want to fight, come down quickly. I still want to fight. At this time, Li Yu, one of the top 4 under the ring, curled his lips. The two of them did not hesitate, jumped off the ring, and made room for each other. Martial arts is not about you letting me and I letting you. There is only one word on the road of martial arts, that is, fight. Fight with the sky. Fight with people. You two are too young. Li Yu glanced at the two and said, then jumped onto the ring. A powerful aura suddenly burst out from his body. It was the 9th level of martial arts master. Ling Ningxuang, come up and fight. He looked at the cold woman and said indifferently. Lang Ningxuang nodded slightly and walked slowly onto the ring. Li Yu was unambiguous, then took a step forward, and a black long sword on his waist suddenly came out of the sheath, and the sharp blade light cut through the sky. Clang! Lang Ningxuang blocked with his sword. It was a blue long sword with snowflake patterns on it. The 60th sword in the famous sword list, the Snow Spirit Sword. Someone exclaimed. Then, sword energy spread out from the sword body. Li Yu's body was corroded by the sword energy, as if he was frozen into an ice sculpture, unable to move, and then Lang Ningxuang kicked him off the stage. Ling Feng and Zhang Ruochen blinked. This guy was defeated so quickly. Didn't he look so awesome just now? Alas, so don't be too arrogant, otherwise it will be ugly if you get slapped in the face. The more arrogant you were just now, the more embarrassed you are now. Under the stage, Li Yu propped himself up, his face was extremely pale, staring at Lang Ningxuang with shock in his eyes. You actually broke through the Wuling realm. Exactly. Lang Ningxuang said indifferently, then looked at Ling Feng under the stage. Junior brother Ling, now it's just you and me, come up and fight it out. Fight it out? Ling Feng's face was a little strange. Isn't this obvious? You are female and I am male. Lang Ningxuang also realized that what she said was a little inappropriate, but her expression did not change at all. Junior brother Ling, let me see your true strength. She could see that Ling Feng had been hiding something. Even when he defeated Feng Xiaoyao, he did not use his full strength. Oh, then please teach me, senior sister. Ling Feng jumped onto the stage. Facing Lang Ningxuang, who was at the Wuling realm, he was not careless. The 7-star dragon abyss sword on his waist was immediately unsheathed, and a dragon's roar echoed in the void. "Good sword!" Lang Ningxuang exclaimed. Then he thrust the snow spirit sword in his hand, and in an instant the wind and snow blew violently. Ling Feng blocked with his sword. With a clang, the two swords collided with each other, making a sound of metal clashing. The sword energy swept across the entire ring, leaving sword marks on the ring. At this moment, both of them almost used their full strength. The entire ring seemed to be about to collapse. Is this the true strength of junior brother Ling Feng? So strong, he can actually compete with the Wuling realm, worthy of being a junior brother. Too strong, they are completely 2 levels from us. Clang 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 clang. The two swords collided with each other one after another. The impact of the true qi turned into sword energy and spread. Ling Feng became more and more excited as he fought, his true qi surged, and his strength continued to increase. The power of 9 oxen and 2 tigers, plus the power of 9 oxen and 2 tigers, finally increased to the power of an elephant. The terrifying huge force, even if he did not use the true qi, was enough to sweep the martial arts master, and with the true qi, even the Wuling would find it difficult to resist. Lang Ningxuang only felt that the power coming from the sword was getting more and more terrifying. The hand holding the sword was numb. Ling Feng slashed out with another sword. The sword was awe-inspiring, and its power was even more domineering. Lang Ningxuang felt that what was coming at her was not a sword, but a mountain. She felt that she could not resist it, so she quickly dodged. And this sword fell on the ring. With a bang, the gravel flew. The whole ring split in the middle and was split in half. Everyone was in an uproar. Oh my god, what kind of power is this? Damn it. Is this really the power that a martial artist can have? Junior brother Ling Feng is so fierce. Seeing the power of this sword, Lang Ningxuang couldn't help but change her face slightly, and a trace of fear appeared on her face. If this sword hit her, Lang Ningxuang couldn't help but shudder. Facing Ling Feng, who continued to attack, Lang Ningxuang didn't dare to confront him head-on. She moved her body and actually rose from the ground. Behind her, a pair of blue ice crystal wings shone brightly. It is only in the martial spirit realm that the true qi turns into wings. The true qi turns into wings and soars in the sky. Lang Ningxuang looked down at Ling Feng from above and said, "Junior brother Ling, even though you are unparalleled in combat power, you can't fly after all. I won this battle." After saying that, she raised her hand and slashed out sword energy. Ling Feng dodged left and right. He also tried to slash out sword energy, but the opponent was in the air, far away, and difficult to lock. For a moment, he was suppressed. How despicable. You actually used this method to beat junior brother Ling Feng. Martial spirit beats martial master, shameless. Martial spirit's air advantage is too great. Many female disciples standing on Ling Feng's side were immediately dissatisfied. Some male disciples were ashamed. This is a competition. Victory is everything. What's wrong with a martial spirit beating a martial master? We are all disciples of the sect. I can't restrain myself and let you beat me just because I am stronger than you. That doesn't make sense. However, this group of female disciples didn't think so much. They just saw that Ling Feng was about to lose, and they were immediately unhappy. At this time, Ling Feng, who was dodging left and right, suddenly smiled and looked at Lang Ningxuang in the air and said, "Senior sister, have you ever heard of the sword controlling technique?"